Welcome back. You're still watching Good Morning Namibia. As we continue off with the conversations this morning, access to education is not only a NANSO advocacy pillar, but a constitutional aspiration guaranteed in the Namibian Constitution in Article 21 that guarantees that all persons the right to education. NANSO's main objective is for learners, students and trainees to access quality education in Namibia. That's why we're joined by Secretary of Higher and Tertiary Education, Junias Haufiku, just to talk to us about NANSO's 8 advocacy pillars for the year 2024 to 2026. For basically that tenure. Well, Mr. Haufiku, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for making time to talk to us. Can you just elaborate more on NANSO's 8 advocacy pillars for the year 2024 to 2026 tenure, and also their significance to the Namibian students?
So these key advocacy pillars that we have from the 2024 to the 2026 tenure of the current NANSO leadership emanated from our Congress that we had this year, our elective Congress, and it was also to celebrate our 40th anniversary. NANSO was founded 40 years ago, 1984, the 2nd of June. So these advocacy pillars are basically in line with one of our aims and objectives as an organization, which is to fight for the rights of students, learners and trainees across the whole country, irregardless of their economic background, sexual orientation, religion and political affiliation.
All right. So how do these advocacy pillars align with the constitutional provisions in the Article 20, subsection 1 that guarantees the right of education?
Article 20 of the Namibian Constitution speaks on education, and sub-article 1 speaks is stipulated that all persons shall have the rights to access to education in Namibia. These advocacy pillars are to ensure that irregardless of your economic status, if you are struggling with student accommodation just because of finances, then that shouldn't be the case. Sub-article 2 of the Constitution also says that the government has the responsibility to ensure that you make use of the resources to ensure the students have access to education. So our advocacy pillars include student accommodation, sustainable funding for higher education. This is just to ensure that we tackle the barriers that hinder students from accessing education.
All right. Yes. Earlier on, I heard you mentioning religion and stuff, but for the past 8 days, NANSO has been releasing these pillars. What do these pillars contain exactly, and also why not just release them all at once? Why one by one?
One by one. What happens if I give you too much good food? You won't eat it at all. You won't finish everything.
Okay, so you don't want leftovers.
Yes,
okay.
Exactly. We have been releasing these 8 pillars over the 8 days because even relating to every pillar, we have been engaging students. So, for example, relating to student accommodation, we were engaging students, asking them questions that speaks on student accommodation. So these 8 pillars include, the first one is access to quality education for all. The second one, student accommodation. The third one, sustainable funding for higher education. The fourth one, disability friendliness of learning institutions. The fifth one, the integration of the early childhood development, ECD, into the Ministry of Education, Arts and Culture, MOEC, and then development of the TVET and environmental sustainability and green skills. And yes, those are the 8 pillars.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So what merit will NANSO use to measure the success of these pillars for the what do you call this, for the years that it's being implemented for, seeing that it started this year and it's set to end in 2026?
So in a nutshell, accountability and calls to action. We as an organization need to hold the government accountable, and we have also been engaging the government in terms of having meetings with them, having courtesy visits. When we elected as a leadership, we visited the Ministry of Higher Education, the Ministry of Basic Education, NSFAF that speaks on student funding, and we are yet to meet with the Namibian Council of Higher Education to ensure that our education is of quality.
Right.
our constituents also have the right to come to us and hold us accountable. And we as a national leadership consistently have meetings every month to ensure that whatever activities our lower ranks or our lower structures have are in alignment with these advocacy pillars. So in those meetings, we also reflect on how we are going about those advocacy pillars and to ensure that, yes, our mandate is being carried out.
All right. What does NANSO make of Namibia's education system?
What is?
What does NANSO make of Namibia's education system?
It ensures that our education system is of quality.
Right.
If there's no accountability frameworks or accountability systems, that there's no one that can call out where you are going wrong or where you are falling short. When I spoke on or mentioned the environmental sustainability and green skills, it's to say that yes, we have these emerging industries. There's the green hydrogen, there's the oil and gas industry. Those are emerging industries, but how is our Namibian education system, how is the government preparing our students, our constituents, to equip them with skills that will prepare them to become assets for those emerging industries? Because if you don't prepare them, you will have the youth members in the future stating that, no, why can I not get in the oil and gas? It's just people from outside. But the problem is the people are not equipped. So we need to ensure that those students are equipped.
All right.
Yes.
Now, there are definitely some challenges when it comes to equipping people, especially those in the rural communities. What is NANSO doing in that regard?
So there are a lot of, as I mentioned, there are a lot of barriers to accessing education.
Specifically quality education.
Specifically quality education.
Yeah.
We have poor infrastructure in rural areas. We have 40 learners that are sharing one textbook that stays at school. A student is given homework in a rural area. I visit some villages in the north, but you have a student that they are sent homework. Here in Windhoek, if you give a learner homework, go research on something, they're able to go to the library. There in the village or rural areas, we don't have libraries as much as we have in Windhoek. When you send them to go use the internet, we don't have technological infrastructure in the north. We don't have good quality network. We even have some houses, or most of the houses in rural areas cannot access the internet. One of the other things is also menstrual poverty and hygiene. Beds are another issue. We have learners are really going through much, especially ladies. A learner cannot go to school because of their feminine conditions. So now they don't have beds and cannot go to school as a consequence. Yeah. Yes.
All right. Now, looking ahead, talk to us about the crucial role that these pillars will play in Namibia's education system.
Again, I love when you say that our advocacy pillars are in alignment with Article 20, Sub-Article 1 of our Namibian Constitution. And looking ahead, it's for us as a leadership to ensure that we carry out our mandate. And carrying out our mandate, I think the assumption is that NANSO are just people that talk. We are actively engaging the government behind doors. We are meeting them consistently. It is not a thing of we just go to certain stakeholders in government and question them, why are you not doing this, why are you not doing that? But it's a collaborative effort from our side and their side to ensure that, yes, Article 20, Sub-Article 1 is met.
All right. Well, what can we expect you in studio just to talk to us about some of the achievements when it comes to the pillars?
Some achievements when it comes to the pillars. TVET, professional development for TVET, we have been engaging the trainees from various TVETs, and we have also been collaborating with them in terms of improving infrastructure in schools. There was a program we were running when we had them fixing chairs and tables in rural areas. Student funding, one of our Congress resolutions, it's to ensure that we work towards free higher education. I think it sounds impossible to some of the people right now, but Botswana is already managing 98% of the students at the University of Botswana do have grants, and that's through a provision of having the government use its natural resources to fund higher education, and we are pushing for the same thing. We are calling on what we call an education levy, where we are saying the profits made by certain stakeholders that are processing raw minerals or raw materials in our country, they should contribute 1% of their profits to higher education funding.
All right.
Yes.
Well, Mr. Haufiku, thank you so much for joining us in studio. We love the 8 advocacy pillars, and hopefully they all work out and we see its success by the year 2026.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
All right. That was Junias Haufiku, who is the Secretary for Higher and Tertiary Education. That is, of course, for NANSO, talking to us about the 8 NANSO advocacy pillars, and they're talking about the change that they want to see when it basically comes to Namibia's educational system. He did mention that they are engaging the right people that they need to engage when it comes to improving, that is, of course, education in Namibia, and also deliver quality education. Don't go anywhere.